about this? Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? Like 4,000 people telling me the same story on somebody getting their face eaten, and it was a little depressing. But then one morning I woke up, and it was just someone tweeting me, and it was a link. And I was like, I don't know, what the heck is this? And so it's like, I'm like brushing my teeth. Listen, I'm sitting on the toilet, all right? That's I'm trying not to say it, but it's true. So I'm sitting on the toilet, brushing your teeth. I didn't say I was brushing my teeth, and then I was like, no, it's weirder to be checking your Twitter feed while you're brushing your teeth. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, so I'm checking my Twitter feed, and it's just a link, and it's a photo of the guy in the hospital who had his face eaten, and I was like, this is my life now? Like, I don't want to see this. Like, don't send this to me. And that is why I didn't do the research on the whole thing with the, you know. So, because I was like, I can't do it. I can't see that stuff. So you're welcome, Bath Salts. I don't know.
My other question was, is there any characters that you wish you continued the storyline that you killed off, and how they would be played possibly?
Who do you miss drawing the most, Trevor? Don't spoil any recent ones.
I miss drawing. I miss drawing actually. I miss drawing Dale.
I think I might miss Axel and Tyrese the most, but yeah, I really enjoyed Axel. I had a lot of fun with him.
Thanks.
But and the governor, I guess he was neat. But I get to ride him again, so I don't care.
Thank you. Okay, my question is basically, out of all the survivors that we've seen in the comic, very few have been actually ex-military. Did you do this either based on a story that you feel like you would want more people from broad backgrounds, more normal people, or did you do it like on practicality that probably most military people would have died in the initial response to the zombie outbreak?
It's a little bit of that. I mean, there was a lot of military early on in the early issues that you would see like dead from different battles and stuff, but I feel like it would be, you know, if there were a bunch of like capable military people around, it would not be that interesting because it'd be like, we did this, we succeeded. And then if I put in a bunch of military people in and they weren't like accomplishing goals and doing things, I'd get letters like, what are you saying? These people are inept? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, you know, I just think it's more fun to watch people who are incapable of like protecting themselves and doing awesome things. You know, but there have been military people in the book, and there will be more. So,
Thank you.
there's always like one person that claps. Calm down.
How do you feel about the differences between the comic that you read and wrote to the show? You say you have a
Wait, did you say you hate the show?
your friend.
Oh, you do, sure, yeah.
Hey friends.
Well, your friend can kiss my ass.
Do you like include, is it kind of like a second alternative to what you didn't have in the comics? This was what happened?
I like to call it George Lucasing, which has been controversial, but when I'm in the writer's room and I'm with the fantastic writers in the writer's room and they're, you know, doing their thing, I'm oftentimes like, oh, this again, you know, like, I mean, not really, but like, it really excites me when we do new things. So when I look at the Sophia storyline from the show, I don't go, I wish I had done that in the comic. I have plans for her in the comic. She's still alive. Spoiler alert. But that is a remarkable, like, gut-wrenching, like, really great story with a really great payoff. And when fans come to me and they're like, I wish the show was more like the comic, I'm like, no, you don't. Because that storyline doesn't exist in the comic, and that storyline is totally awesome. Like, when she comes out, and I'm just going to spoil season 2, it's been a while. When she comes out of that barn, like, it's like this really powerful moment, and we haven't had a lot of those kind of really powerful moments in the comic, mainly because of Charlie's art. But I'm just kidding. But you know, I'm really proud of how the show, you know, goes its own way and does really cool things that you can't expect because they're not in the comic. And you know, I'm always pushing for that. Now, I'm not saying like those are my ideas, they're not. I'm just saying like when things are being pitched around and it's something that like has altered the comic in a way that's better, I love that. So, you know, I'm part of the problem for your friend is what I'm saying.
Has there been something that you didn't like that they put in the show?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh, the show is 100% perfect. You know, there've been like maybe a couple of things where like on the day it didn't quite like get filmed the way that whatever, you know, but like that's just TV. That's just how things go. And the fact is like it's still way better than, you know, it should be. I mean, the show is amazing. So sure, I could say like I've got a couple of little nitpicks here and there, but not really. I mean, I'm extremely happy with how the show's turned out.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. Charlie, do you like the show?
I love the show. No, seriously, I do think, yeah, I mean, as a more, shall we say...
Was that a baby?
As a more, perhaps, shall we say, objective point of view, since I'm not as closely involved in the TV show, you know, I can sort of sit back a bit and see it for, yeah, see the wood for the tree, not see the wood for the tree sort of thing. And, no, I think it works perfectly there too. They're joined and separate at the same time, which is really how an adaptation should be. We've seen people screw up when they've gone really close to doing an adaptation of the original source, Watchmen,
Put the claws away, man. Wow.
and it doesn't work, you know, and so the perfect thing is, you know, TV is a different genre to comics. Film is a different genre to TV. So you've got to adapt and do it how it should suit the medium, and I think the TV show does it absolutely brilliantly.
Kind of moving forward, it did get cut.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cut
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
It's supposed to have come out a
What?
couple months ago.
What? That is news to me. I am going to call somebody. That's not out yet. What? So no one knows what we're talking about. No, there's a book called The Cutting Room Floor that I've been working on for a while that basically is, when I write a comic, I take a piece of typing paper and I plot the comic out on paper. And so it's this handwritten thing that is actually somewhat legible. And I usually write my script while looking over those pieces of paper and going, oh, on page 2 I want this to happen, okay. And sometimes I change my mind and sometimes I don't. And sometimes there are stories that I work out on those pieces of paper that I don't end up using. And so I thought it would be a really neat thing to do a book that collected them all. So theoretically, there's a hardcover called The Walking Dead, The Cutting Room Floor that collects all, like 50 of those. And on one page it'll have that note, and then on the other page it'll have me talking about like where I changed my mind and different things that happened. And there are a lot of cool things in the first 50 issues of The Walking Dead that, I mean, Charlie may not even know, because I'd just be like, yeah, they died. Nah, they don't die. And I would like work out stories, and there were different things. I mean, one of them, I'll just spoil it right now, Thomas, the murderer in the prison, was originally going to stab Lori in the stomach and kill her baby. You know, that was a thing that I had worked out. I just decided not to do it because it's stupid. So like there's things like that, and I thought it would be a cool book, and writing the commentary is taking me longer than I expected. So it will definitely come out in the future. Tomorrow's the future, that counts, but it probably won't be tomorrow. But yeah, no, I'm trying to focus on that and get it done, hopefully before October.
Comic-Con next year.
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Could be the next Image United.
I, on the other hand, if I did a cutting room floor version of the artwork, it'd probably be more like a pamphlet. I do so little prep.
Hey, how's it going? Huge fan of the show and the comic. I was curious as to, Robert, when you're writing, it's hard to separate the show from the comic, and when you're spending so much time out of production on the show, it was hard to focus on the comic.
It's really not, just because the show is a reinterpretation of the past in the comic, and it's so far in the past, and the characters are so different now, and they've experienced so many different things, and a lot of them are dead. So the cast is almost entirely made up of different people that it's very easy to keep them separate. And, you know, working on the show doesn't like drain my Walking Dead muscles so that when I go to the comic, I'm like, ooh, this again? And vice versa. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So yeah, I mean, I'm always like, ooh, I'm doing the show. Oh, I'm working on the comic. And it's a lot of fun.
This mic stand is too short for me, which brings me to my second thing.
Everybody's complaining, man.
I don't know if there's enough total zombies on the show. So, you know, I'm 6'5", I was going to say more zombies.
Have you been measuring the zombies?
More total zombies. Thank you.
I just need tall people. I just can't stand it.
Tall deaf
They're
zombies.
so entitled. It's like you have everything. What do you want?
So, getting back to whether they're military people or not, in the show, the first episode, the pilot had a semi-known actor who was in that Stephen King adaptation, I forget the name of it, The Mist, who was going to be in it. And then I heard that the first episode of season 2 was actually that character's story, that sort of fed back into the guy who ends up in the tank in the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
Did that actually get shot?
It was Sam Witwer who actually plays the apprentice in the Star Wars, what's that called? That one video game? I love that video game, sorry.
Did that end
It's
up
like,
getting...
whatever.
I don't know the video game.
That's okay, I couldn't remember the name either.
Did that...
Force Unleashed, baby!
I had to.
Nice job.
Did that-
The second game?
Did it
Not so
finish
good.
game?
First game? Awesome. Second game? Not. Sorry, go ahead.
Did that episode finish getting edited? Will we end up seeing...
No, that episode was never shot. I mean, I don't know, Sam I don't think had a lot of information. I think he had talked to Frank like a while ago and he like mentioned it on a panel like, oh, I was gonna be in this episode. And Frank came into the second season saying, hey, I've got this great idea for an episode. I wanna bring back Sam Witwer, do this story about him and how he ended up in that tank. And Frank worked with all of the writers in the writer's room on the second season, and in developing the second season, we just decided not to do that episode. So there was never like this lost episode that wasn't done because Frank left the show. Like Frank decided not to do that episode. There was a lot of conflict with, you know, closing down the streets in Atlanta and getting all that stuff done, and Sam's schedule against that show that he's on, Being Human. Thought I was going to forget it for a minute. But yeah, you know, it just didn't come together, so we moved off of it, and that's why we, you know, did the stuff that we did with Traffic Snarl and all that.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, let's do rapid fire, and then they're going to kick us out. I think we've got like 0 minutes, so no one else get up to ask a question. And ask your question quickly. I'm going to stop talking now.
Okay. This is kind of brought up, I was going to ask anyways, but your anecdote kind of forced me to ask a question. There's 3 pivotal moments in the comic series that involve ocular injury. Are you doing it as an injury? Are you doing it as a like therapy for Charlie to make him draw that, or is there any other inspiration? It's like draw this now.
All more stuff with eyes.
I think we're just in a rut. We're like, what can we do? I don't know, mess somebody's eye up? That's
Awesome, cool, thank you.
cool.
Yeah, the next one will be a zombie that just comes up and just touches.
Hi, big fan
Hi.
of Texas.
Great.
I just wanted to comment that I think Carl is one of the best developed characters in the comic book, and I think he will be in the show if he can just stay in the goddamn house.
If he's never in the house, because he'll be doing all kinds of awesome stuff, and you'll see some of that in season 3.
But I'm sure, I just wanted to comment on the fact that there's this great juxtaposition between what happens to his father and what happens to him, with Rick losing his hand, Carl losing his eye, both of them losing a brother and a sister. Was that intentional? And
Was that a cough?
you
Is
kind
that a
of,
car horn from the 20s? All right.
we kind of see as
That happened a long time ago, buddy. Read out.
As Rick is gaining hope, Carl seems to be becoming kind of cynical and losing hope. Is this kind of comparison something that you're doing on purpose? Do you really want people to pay attention to that for further issues? Maybe you're going to touch on that in the TV series?
Yeah, I mean the progression. I mean it's all about Carl growing up in this horrible world and how it affects him, and how you know, children who aren't told how to react to things and have to figure out how to react to things. Like Carl is growing up in an environment where he reacts to things that in our world are not normal and in his world are normal. and I love playing with how alien that is. I just gotta stop. Stop. No. So you'll have to drag me off this panel. And you know, Rick is constantly having to, you know, cross his own boundaries in order to protect his son, and so it's a core aspect of the comic, and it's definitely a core aspect of the show, and you'll be seeing a lot of that stuff in season 3. So please tune in to season 3 of The Walking Dead coming to October.